going to talk about the genetics part of the EcoFCE project. Henry talked about the genomics section. And I'm from the QGG in Aarhus University in collaboration with Hermitage, which is our industry partner in the EcoFCE project. We are in the work package 5, and it looks into the genetics of feed efficiency by novel modeling of feed efficiency, and then we look at how genomic technology can help to improve feed efficiency in pigs and chickens. And at the end, we use all the information that we get from modeling and the genomic. We will try to incorporate all this information to optimize the breeding schemes in pig and poultry. So just to give you a short introduction, we know that the world population is increasing. The 40% increase in the meat consumption we will have in the future. What we need to do is to improve productivity. At the same time, we need to improve efficiency of quality lean meat in chicken and pigs. But what we need to consider is also the cost of production, which is really important for the industry, which is around 40–50% of the cost. You can see here how important is feed efficiency for my industry partner is putting 45%. They have two breeding programs. They are putting 45% pressure here and 25% over there. And the other trace they have in the model is limit percentage and the length of the growth. But we know that the feed efficiency is a complex area. We give the feed to the animal, it puts it for the lean production, and then it deposits some fat. It has got maintenance requirements, and we have the leftovers. But what at the moment is happening in the industry, we're just looking at the feed conversion ratio, which is just the feed intake to the average daily gain. It's just a gross estimation, and it may, the study has shown that it would affect the other selection for the average daily gain and other component choice in the model. Now we are looking more into the residual feed intake, because we have got the average daily gain, it's a proxy for the limit production, and we have limit percentage, is a proxy for fat acquisition. From those, we can estimate our fat. But how could we estimate that? How could we improve this estimation in any way that is independent of the production? So we need the feed intake data. And in the breeding companies, they usually use the electronic feeders. It's like a fridge. The animal goes in and gets its food, but what it doesn't know is this time it gets recorded. So we know how much they are eating, how many times they go to the feeder, how much time they spend over the basic feeding behavior traits. But we need to clean this as well. The data has got errors in it. So we clean the data using algorithm presented by David Casey. And then, just to give you what we have is only 4,000 animals in 7 years, and the records are from average 52 kilograms start body weight all the way to 110. So the growth of the animal is already chopped. It's not from 20–30 kilograms all the way, it's from 52 kilograms. So what we said we have weekly, we have everyday record. So let's have a look at each week. So we use average daily feed intake in each week all the way during the growth. And we saw the trend that is increasing all the way. So let's use and utilize this information. As part of EcoFCE, we want to produce a novel methodology, tools that can be implemented in the pig breeding. So my boss in Aarhus University developed this method as part of EcoFCE. We call it horizontal model. I'm not going to tell you all about these statistics, but I'll just briefly tell you what it does. It's combining the longitudinal trait of feed intake and mixing it with average daily gain, the limit percentage. That's how usually breeding companies are running on the multi-trait analysis. But this time we have got a longitudinal trait. This method allows estimation and implementation of combined longitudinal and single traits in breeding companies. And from that, you can estimate feed efficiency in a genetic level that is totally independent of average daily gain limit percentage. Just to show you the genetic background of feed efficiency, we have got the heritability here and the VIX on the test over there. This is the feed intake first. So we know that feed intake is genetically increasing during the growth of the animals. Then we look at the genetic RFI that we estimated, the heritability or the ratio of the genetic variance that we have over the phenotypic variance is also following the same trend. And if we look at the proportion of the variance explained by RFI, the proportion of genetic variance that is in feed intake explained by RFI is actually increasing. And it's in range of, we have got 15 to 30, and over there we have got 40% of the variation in feed intake explained by RFI. So we know that animals are less efficient at later stages. That's when I was looking at David's presentation, the proportion of lysine that we require reduces at the end of the growth of animals. So now we want to have a look and see, okay, is these feed efficiencies that we estimated in each week, are they related genetically to each other? And this is the correlation or the relationship between these two, between each measure of feed efficiency during the growth. And we have got the feed efficiency in the first week is really low correlated with the later in the test. And as the distance between these two measurements reduces, the relationship is increasing. I'm going to leave it here. We have done studies on the correlation between feed efficiency with feeding behavior traits, feeding behavior traits with average daily gain limit percentage, body compositions. But I leave it here for you guys to come and talk to me during the break and in the work cafe to get more information and get some information from you also about this project. Thank you very much.